Fun fact about me, apart from loving speakers, loving sound and loving what I do, I also love art and I collect a bit of art. The one thing I noticed that was in common with both listening to speakers and appreciating art was it was very important for me to build a vocabulary as I learned more and more about appreciation. Because very often I found myself saying, hey, I love the sound of these speakers, or I love this painting, or I love this sculpture. But without being able to articulate what I liked in it, I was unable to figure out what sound or what type of painting really made me take over. And as I learned the language of sound and as I learned the language of visual art, it's helped me refine my own tastes and really learn what I love. So in today's video, I'm going to introduce some of the common terms that audiophiles use, demystify them, that hopefully help you sort of deepen your understanding of what you really like when you hear a speaker and say, hey, that sounds amazing. So the first term, or the first thing to look for when listening to a hi-fi system is the vocals. People often ask me, why should we put a hi-fi system at home, or what is the goal? And I always have the same answer. The goal of a hi-fi system actually is to completely disappear. When you're sitting and listening to a hi-fi system, you should not even think the system is there. So when it comes to vocals, you should feel like the singer is there standing in front of you, singing without a mic, and vocals need to be natural. You need to feel the emotion. And when you're testing a hi-fi system, it's very important to focus on the vocal reproduction. The second term is something called imaging. A good hi-fi system should be able to precisely place where each instrument and each singer in a song is. The easiest way to test for this is to sit in front of a hi-fi system, close your eyes, and you should be able to make out that the vocals are coming from dead center. Though your speakers may be to the right and the left, and may even be 20 feet apart, when you're listening to a good, well-calibrated stereo system, the vocals should sound like they're coming from dead center, and that'll show you that system has good imaging. The third thing we talk about is soundstage. And the easiest way to understand what soundstage means is, again, going back to what I said, you should feel like you're sitting in front of a live performance, and you should feel like the song that you're listening to is being played on a three-dimensional stage with breadth, with height, and with depth. In a good hi-fi system, very often it sounds like the singer is standing a few feet behind the speakers, even though your speakers are in front, and that gives you that illusion of depth and immersion. So soundstage is the third important thing. The fourth thing is bass. And all of us have a rudimentary understanding of what bass is, but what does good bass mean? Because bass can be great, but bass can also sound terrible and overpowering. The easiest way that I understood bass was to think of a drum. Right? And all of us know how drums work. You have a tight skin on the drum, someone hits a stick on the drum skin, and you hear a sharp puck. That is what we call tight and punchy bass. It hits you in the chest, but it stops immediately. Imagine if that drum skin were loose. A stick would hit the drum and you'd hear boo, like a reverberating sound. That is, and it might be very loud, but that is boomy bass, and we don't want that. We want tight, punchy bass that hits you and stops immediately. So make sure the system has tight and punchy bass. The fifth thing is dynamics, and this is very often confused with loudness. Most speakers can play loud. All speakers can play loud. Some sound terrible loud, some sound okay. But what is equally important is how the speaker sounds when you play it at a soft volume. Are the vocals still intelligible? Can you still pick out the instruments? And in a speaker with good dynamic range, you'll be able to hear every detail, even at a low volume on your amp. So, recapping all five things, you want speakers that do a great job reproducing mids where the mids are natural, where the vocals are natural. You want speakers that have precise imaging so you can pick out each instrument and each singer on the stage. You want speakers that give you the impression of a three-dimensional huge soundstage. You want speakers that give you tight and punchy bass. And you want speakers with a high dynamic range so that even at low volumes, they sound incredibly detailed. So the next time you're listening to a hi-fi system, look for these five things, and I guarantee if you like a system, you will find that that system has all five of these attributes in abundance. So our showrooms are open. The Heritage setup with the Prima Luna or Bryson amp I have here gives you dollops of all five in spades. So come in, have a listen, spend a couple of hours here, refine your ear, refine your understanding for hi-fi, and you will walk away enriched.